Hi, I'm Rich Hoffman. You've seen that trick before. I usually do it when I'm trying to explain something that requires precision. And putting a candle out with a bullwhip is a very precise thing to do. But as I was thinking about this nationwide issue of arming teachers in schools and all the complexities of it and the controversy surrounding it, which comes from the Trump administration all the way down here to my county of Butler County, Ohio, where there's a very unique tax levy that 5 schools in our district have put forth out of the 10 to initially get more money for what they say is security, mental health help, counselors, that kind of thing, in case there were a massive school shooting that would occur in Butler County. Sheriff Jones, which is our local celebrity sheriff, has proposed, along in conjunction with the Trump administration, to arm teachers to be the first responders in case such an incident would occur. And I think, as he does, and so do a lot of other people in Butler County, that this whole tax levy is really just a money grab. It's an attempt for school board members in those districts of Fairfield, Monroe, Edgewood, Hamilton, and New Miami to essentially have an excuse in case something goes wrong. They can say they put money into it, but it's a reactive thing instead of a proactive thing. And putting guns on teachers is a proactive measure, whereas counselors and more security employees are a reactive measure, because we know from several of these incidences that even though people are paid to be the first responders, to be the security on site, when bullets are flying, they don't always have the stamina to deal with the situation. So it's a very complex situation in some ways, but really in common sense measures, not so much. I was at it really came to my mind at a debate between George Lang and his opponent for the 52nd district here in Ohio. And of course, that 52nd district has entanglements with the schools that are part of that levy that are going to be voted for in this November election, 2018. So essentially, the question between the two candidates, one of the candidates, Kathy White, is a former Lakota school levy supporter. So she's all about levies and all that kind of thing. And you would think that she would know something about this thing because it's big news. It's one of the most unusual circumstances in the country. But she didn't know anything about it. She had to take a pass on the question. But George Lang, whom I happen to support, he had a very good answer, which I thought was highly relevant to this. And he brought up the situation in Sandy Hook, where there was a principal, when Adam Lanza was going through the halls unimpeded, a principal was there to meet him, armed with only a shoe. And he told the story in the debate, which I had heard before, but it reminded me, because it's very relevant to this. There are teachers, there are principals, there are administrators who are all in, and they really believe in it. And it may be a small percentage of the population within any particular school. But you can bet you that there's probably a fair percentage of people that will throw themselves in front of a bullet to save the kids. No argument there. But it's not really necessary. That's kind of a dumb thing to do. Why waste a life when you can save it? So it got me thinking about my candle trick here, and a way to explain why having teachers armed is an important thing to do. It's the fastest way to solve a problem, especially when you have an armed insurgent attacking a bunch of kids that are unarmed and just trying to learn. So I want to ask you to consider this candle a threat. It's a hostile assassin moving through the halls of our local school. And What could we possibly do to stop such a thing? And just like that, the threat will be ended. All it takes is a person very comfortable with a firearm to handle such an aggressive circumstance. As you can see, and I wouldn't recommend trying this if you don't know what you're doing. The loads I'm using in this particular firearm are cowboy action loads for mounted shooting and Ohio fast draw and that kind of thing. They're really not dangerous beyond 8 to 10 feet, 15 feet tops. Certainly, that's why I'm in this room, because it contains, there's no danger to anybody outside of this environment. But I recommend not trying that unless you've had 40, 50 years like I have working with firearms. It's not something to play with. There's a little bit of a science to it. But you can get the idea that within the distance of 10, 15 feet or 7 feet, which the candle is to here, you can quickly take out an assailant very precisely. It doesn't have to be an ugly shootout scene. Usually they're not. It's best if you can isolate the threat quickly. And it's better to have one of these than a shoe. So it's an example to articulate the speed that you can put down a threat versus there's no time. The police are minutes away. There's armed security could be on the other side of the building. You really have to stop it as soon as you see it. And as soon as someone comes into a school, gets past that initial security, if they're so bound and determined to do it, whatever the way they've entered the school, or any public place for that matter, as a threatening assailant, the best way to deal with it is somebody around with the comfort of firearms, and there's always a percentage of people who are, not everybody is, but we should allow people who are to be there so that they can do just as you saw. Threats there, draw, fire, put them down, and then we'll deal with the paperwork later. But many more people will live, and that's what we all want. So essentially back to this Butler County levy. If it goes down to defeat, which it needs to, then it forces those school boards to have to deal with arming the teachers. Our local sheriff is wanting to help in that regard, and we're not talking about just an 8-hour class. We're talking making a lifestyle out of it and making it something that teachers are comfortable with and giving them the support they need to meet this threat head on. In a lot of ways here in Butler County, Ohio, we have the ability right now to kind of have a national platform to speak from. Certainly something that President Trump wants to see implemented, and why not make this the area that can provide that leadership for the rest of the nation. So vote. If you're in one of those districts in Butler County, vote that sucker down. It's terrible. It's I think it's a 10-year levy, 1.5 mil, which is $53 per $100,000 home per year. On top of all the other levies they always ask for, but this is just for safety. And really, if you peel back the onion a little bit more on that, it's not just for safety, it's for getting the school boards off the hook in case something goes wrong. They can say they at least hired some people. But if you really want to solve the problem, you really need to have guns be the first line of defense. And guns aren't dangerous by themselves. If you know what you're doing, I've worked with them forever. Everybody I knew when I was little dealt with guns. I mean, I don't know anybody that goes around shooting people for no reason. I do the cowboy Western arts and those types of things because it's a way of keeping tradition alive in America. So I know some tricks like this to be able to provide exhibits that make things easier to understand. But if you know what you're doing, this isn't the danger. The danger is people who are not right. And whether it's guns or cars or knives, they're going to find a way to harm people if they're so inclined. So we have to deal with that threat directly. So vote no if you're one of those districts. For the schools that aren't participating, such as Lakota, there were a few school board members that we have now that are conservative, and they kept us from being a part of that. which, you know, we're one district away from Fairfield, which Fairfield is involved. So it needs to go down. It needs to force school boards to deal with it. And once all these school boards have to face the fact that that's a reality, and the teachers have to start accepting that guns need to be in schools. It can't be gun-free zones because it makes them soft targets, and that's, you know, these days it's just not. It's not the way to approach the problem. So vote no on the Butler County safety levy, and vote Republicans across the board. If you're watching this outside of Ohio, vote for your local Republican, because all these matters trickle right up to the White House, and, you know, we all need to kind of pull together to kind of keep things sane, especially in this election. So I'll be voting for Mr. Lang and every other Republican on the ticket in my area. I feel good about most every one of them. It's been a nice unifying factor under the Trump umbrella. But on a more serious note, long after this politics are over with, we have to deal with the school violence situation, and we have to keep them from being soft targets. So vote no on the school safety levy, vote Republican, but more than anything, vote. Don't sit at home that night. Get out there and vote. All right? Thanks. See you later. Bye.